This is the review solution for Chapter 1 test review. Okay, this is the 1-6 section. It asks us to use the figure to the right and answer questions 29 through 39. Okay, number 29 gives us this question. 29 asks, what is the x-intercept of the graph? Remember that the x-intercept here is where the function crosses the x-axis. The x-axis is right here horizontally. Okay, so let me pull up the map for you so you can see it better. Alright, here you go. Alright, here's the chart. Right, it is the point in which, right, here's the x-axis. Okay, and that point that it crosses is right here. We would call this 18, comma 0. Okay, that's the order pair associated to the x-intercept. Okay, so what is the x-intercept? We call that, based on our graph, 18, comma 0. Good. Remember, it always follows the format of x, comma, then y. Okay, that is 29. Right, this leads us to the next question of what does the x-intercept mean? Right, so it should always follow this format, right? So when, right, and then you put the independent variable. So I put 18. Then I describe what the x-axis is, because that is what 18 is. So when it's 18 years since the laptop is released, okay, then notice this is the independent variable. Okay, that's the independent variable. Let me make that blue. Then, right, then you write the rest, which is the dependent variable. Then it is 0, right? Okay, 0. Price of a laptop. That doesn't sort of make sense, right? If you phrase it differently, then the price of the laptop is $0, right? This would be a better way of rephrasing it, okay? Right? That is what this 18, 0 means in the reference to this problem. Okay? Next one, I think 31 asks us for the y-intercept. Okay? So, let's go back here and let's look for the y-intercept. The y-intercept refers to the point that it crosses the y-axis. This, the up and down, is called your y-axis. Okay? And it seems like it crosses at this dot. We call this 0, comma, right, 1200. Good? So that is the order pair for the y-axis, right, where the y intercepts the graph. So the y-intercept is at the point 0, 1200. Let me make that bigger for you. Good? Next, it asks, what does the y-intercept represent? Again, we follow the same format as before. Okay? Okay. When, oops, made that a little bit too big. When when it is 0 years since the laptop is released. Okay. Then, remember, this is the independent variable. Let me make that red. Now we're going to talk about the dependent variable. Then the price of the laptop is $12,000, right? That seems to be the original price, because when something is released, right, that's the original price. Good? So that is what the y-intercepts represent in the context of this problem. Okay? Let's look at some other questions here. 33 asks us for what is the dependent variable. Remember that the dependent variable is always the is always the, give me 1 second, okay? All right, so the dependent variable is the x value, okay? It's always the x value, right? It's the x values that you could plug in. So what is the x values here? The dependent variable is the years since the laptop is released. Good? Okay. The next one is going to ask us for the uh, independent variable. I think I misspelled that. Independent. Right? Independent. What is the independent variable? The independent variable always refers to as the y value. The y value in our case is the price of a laptop. Okay, good. That is 33 and 34. All right, let's look at 35 and 36 now. Okay, 35. What is the domain? Remember, the domain is referred to as the domain. Okay, is the values that the x takes. So in this case, we took the value of 0, 3, right, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. So I put that in a list here for you. 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. Those are all the x value points that was plugged in. Next, 36 is asking us for what is the range, okay? The range is referred to as the y, the values that the y takes as a result of the x-axis. Okay, the range, right? Or you could also call that the um, dependent variable. Okay, it looks like it took the value of 1,200, 1,000, 800, 600, 400, 200, and 0. Okay, okay, I put that for you right there. Here's your list. That is how you generate what the domain and range is. Okay. Remember, make sure you understand the definition of what domain and range is. Okay. Next, I think 37 is asking us, is the graph discrete or continuous? The way we think about continuous, if it right, it if you draw a line from one point to other, did you ever lift your pen? Okay. And discrete is that if it jumps, right? It seems like these jumps, there's gaps here. So we would call this discrete, okay? Because there's gaps here and it jumps. So we would call that as discrete, okay? For 37. Next, 38 asks us, what does 9 comma 600 mean? Okay? All we have to do is plug it in into our story here. When, right? 9, that's the x value, and we write it 9 years since the laptop released. Okay, notice I just put the x value here, and I put what the x-axis represents. Okay, all right, now I put comma, then I put in blue here what my y is. My y is 600 here. Okay, so I put, right, that is a dollar amount, so 600. Price of a laptop. Okay, so the 600 here is the price of the laptop. Okay, when it is 9 years since the laptop has been released. Okay, I could also put that when 9 years since the laptop has been released. Then the pr the price, then the price is $600. Okay, then the price of the the price of the laptop is $600. Okay, this is a more grammatic way of writing it. But again, right, this would also be the correct answer. When 9 years since the laptop release, then 600 is the price of the laptop. Okay. Same thing for 39, but it asks us for a different value. Okay. Did you notice that this represents what? When x equals to 0, we call that the what? Okay, we call that the y-intercept. Okay. So, right, this means when the laptop is 0 years, right, when it's released, then the price of the laptop is at 1,200. Okay, here I color coded it for you. This is the independent variable. The laptop is released at 0 years. Okay, then the price is 1,200. That is the dependent variable. Okay, and last thing is we're going to look at 40 and 41. Okay, 40 gives us this scenario. A car rental charges $7 a day. Okay, let me just highlight that for you. Underline, highlight, that seems important. Okay, to rent a car, and $1 per mile driven. That also looks important. Write a function rule that gives the total amount charged for a rental in a car. Alright, so it looks like this has $70 a day. Okay, so let's define some variables. A day, you don't know how many days the driver is going to drive for. Okay, so right, let's think about the constant term and the variable term. Okay, we don't know how much the driver is going to drive for, so let's just make x equals the amount of days the guy drives. Okay, or the person drives for. Then we need to know how many miles are driven. We don't know that. Okay, here's the miles driven. All right. Okay, so these are both variables. So the total charge is going to be $75 right here. Let's put the $75 a day. We don't know what day, so we put the x right here. Plus, right, and that's what and means, right? Plus $1. Here's the $1. Let's drop the $1 here. Y miles, right? Per miles driven. Here you go. So that would represent this. Okay, this would be the function rule for this. Okay, let's do 41 now. Let me just change it up. To get internet at home, you must pay a one-time installation fee of $100 plus a monthly fee of $60 per month for the internet service. Write a function rule that gives the total amount charged for renting for the internet. Okay, that was a little error there. Alright, so I want you to think about the constant term and variable term. The one constant term I see here is the $100 here, right? That doesn't change. You always have to pay that one-time installation fee, okay? Right? Another way you could think about constant is this idea of a one-time thing, okay? It never changes. But what looks like a variable looks like this, okay? It seems like the $60 per month seems to be a variable because we don't know, right, what month, how many months it is. So let's make x months, okay? So your total charge, okay, would be you will have to pay $100 first of all. Okay, you would have to pay $100 first of all. Good. All right, because that is your flat amount, and you have to pay $60 per month. We don't know what month it is, so we put X here. Good? So this represents your total charge. Okay? So that represents your total charge. Okay? There you go. Your total charge is $100, which is your flat amount. 60 times X because you don't know how many months that is. Okay? So that clears up all the function and relationship questions.